Hey, I'm Austin, the blind editor, and today we're going to go over stacking transitions. It's one thing to go from one piece of video to another with a simple slide or a push, and it's a whole nother thing that you could get into when you stack transitions on top of one another. I'm going to show you how to do that, so let's jump into Premiere and check it out. Here's a sample of a transition that I've made. I've put 3 or 4 different effects onto one adjustment layer and together combined them all to make this effect. And I'll kind of walk you through my steps here. So what I have is just a simple lens flare with a few keyframes. It goes from left side of the screen, brightens in the middle, and then goes off to the right. And then on top of that, I added a brightness and contrast just to give it a little more flavor, if you will. And then I have offset, which if you don't know about offset, it's a pretty cool effect that can just make your stuff like roll either horizontally or vertically. It can be used in a few different ways. I just did it with one roll here. As you can see, I have a keyframe back here and then another keyframe up here. And I just made it for one single roll. But then you add those 3 together and it just adds a little something. And I thought it looked nicer than just having a lens flare or just having the roll. And then on top of that, I added the transform to give it a little bit of a wiggle, if you will, just kind of a jitter. And so all of these are keyframed in, and I'll kind of walk you through it. So with the lens flare, at the top of the adjustment layer, I have it off to screen left, and then in the middle you can see the 2 keyframes here. I have it brighten and it's in the center, and then at the very end it goes off to the right and it dims. So the next, what I did was I took my brightness, and again same method, my brightness and contrast, first keyframes, there's nothing. And I actually have keyframes for brightness, but I didn't actually mess with the brightness. You can see over here, this never changes from 0. So I could really get rid of these keyframes. But then the contrast bumps up and then it comes back down, similar to what the lens flare was doing. So I'll collapse those 2. And then down on offset, I have my starting keyframe. I don't have it start rolling until the flare's getting bright, and then I have it kind of stop a little later. But again, one keyframe here for your endpoint, and then I'm just messing with the vertical roll, and it's going up, and then to make it move with the scale and position, I added transform. And transform gives you the same parameters that your motion up here does. The only difference is that I found that when you have an adjustment layer, you can't mess with the scale like this. It doesn't do anything. So you have to use the transform effect to actually get the scale to move like that. So I put transform on there, and I just put a few different keyframes to give it a bump, and I'll turn off these other things so you can kind of see what it's doing underneath. So it goes forward, and then it moves over to the side, zooms out, and jumps back into place. And I just thought all of these combined made something kind of neat, and that's really, I play around with different effects. I really like using the Venetian blinds a lot too, but just combining different effects together to make your own transitions. And you can do some really neat things. You know, you can always use just your standard push and things like that, but when you combine transitions together, you can make something unique of your own too. So I would highly suggest checking out more transitions. I'm going to make more videos in the future of showing you some of my transitions that I've made, and you should go try to make your own as well. And if you check out one of my other videos, you can find out how to take all of these and make it into a video preset. I'll leave a link in that in the description below for that video, and you can go check out how to do that. So once you're done making these, it's not just a one and done thing. You can save it and you can reuse it over and over and over again, and it'll be really, really helpful. So I will leave 2 links in the description for this. I'll leave a link to the video on how to save your presets, and I'll also leave a link so you can download this effect yourself and kind of check it out and see what I've done, and you can bring it into your own Premiere and see how it works. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. Go follow me on Instagram at The Blind Editor to see behind the scenes things, my everyday editing, different things like that. And I'll see you in my next video.